Yeah, got an echo.
What's that go?
Let me know when you're ready, sir.
Never seen lighting like that before.
Yeah. Good evening, everyone. At this time, I'll call to order the regularly scheduled committee meeting for the Village of Midlothian, Wednesday, March 19th, 2025 at 7 p.m. Roll call, please. Clerk Foster.
Trustee Burbett?
Here.
Trustee Cagney?
Here.
Trustee Crowley? Trustee Hilly?
Here.
Trustee Johnson? Trustee Killily?
Here.
Mayor LaRue?
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you, sir. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. At this time, I'll open the floor to public comment. Is there any public comment tonight? If there's no public comment, I'll close the floor to public comment and move on to trustee business. Trustee Burke.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to make a motion to approve Robinson Engineering's proposal for professional engineering services for the commercial water meter replacement program. It is in the amount of $15,000 for design work and not to exceed $10,000 for the actual work.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Discussion? Roll call, please, Clerk Foster.
Trustee Burbett?
Aye.
Trustee Cagney?
Aye.
Trustee Hilly?
Aye.
Trustee Killily?
Aye.
Motion carries.
That's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Trustee Hilly.
Nothing tonight, sir.
Thank you, sir. Trustee Cavey.
Thank you, Mayor. I have two things I want to just mention to everybody this evening. Tomorrow's the first day of spring. All the snow's gone, but I'm not putting the shovel away just yet. However, I do want to just let everybody in the community know that when we do have a few moments of halfway decent weather and it's not hailing and storming on us, just to remind everybody, just kind of start picking up around their property. I've been around town, the building department's been around town, and we've got a couple of properties that are in pretty rough shape that really need some attention, residential property and commercial property alike. So it's that time of year to swap out the shovel for the rake. So if everybody could try to get a head start on your property maintenance, that would be great. Next item, tomorrow I'm having a meeting with the Plan Commission. This is just a preliminary meeting to review the site plan for the new development at 145th and Cicero. The developer that's buying the property and building out the Starbucks has applied to split the parcel into two pins. So they did submit an application for the pin split, and so this is just a preliminary meeting to go over the site plan with them so that they're familiar when it comes time for the hearing. And we're just gonna review some ordinances. So it is an open meeting, anybody's welcome to join us. And we are looking to plan the hearing, hopefully the third Tuesday in April. That's pending that all the members are available and Attorney Murphy's available. And that's all I have.
Thank you, ma'am. Did you say something about IDOT?
IDOT did approve the curb cut on Cicero.
Okay. I also heard from IDOT about the storm sewers on 147th that appear to be collapsing.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to get that person in contact with you. I want to thank Representative Bob Rita for really pushing hard with IDOT to at least get a phone call. So got to start somewhere, and I hope that's a good start. So I've told him it's basically from Cicero to Kedzie, is what I've told him. So we'll see. We'll try to make that contact with you. So.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks. That's it.
That's all.
Thank you. Trustee Killily.
Nothing tonight, Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Attorney Valdez?
It's me already?
Yeah.
Okay, I did put on the board agenda for discussion the new water department draft of the ordinance. So I don't know if the board had any time to take a look at it and go through it. This is just for discussion. Essentially, it eliminates most of the obsolete language that was in the water department code. It adds new provisions that are current operations. I did this in conjunction with the administrative department, the billing department, and with Ty. I thank Ty for doing a great job sitting down. We went through literally every single provision of the water department code in order to revise it. If there are any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them. I think the most definitive changes, obviously, are going to be a placeholder spot under the ordinance for the village board to charge an infrastructure fee to multiple apartment buildings and commercial users of water. This is to reflect the additional costs that the village has in maintaining those water lines. It has to do with the costs that we have not been recouping, such as obtaining easements, such as opening property on private property to put in new lines. All of those things are taken into consideration. Obviously, this is a recommendation. The board has the ultimate authority to decide what that rate will be, how much it will be. I think the starting bid that I have comes in at $15 a month for multiple unit residences. Again, this is just a draft for you to decide what you want to do. I would note that the current infrastructure charge that is on the water bills is not in the ordinance, the old ordinance, the current ordinance. In the new one, it will be there. It will not have a set fee for it. That will be set from time to time from the village board. So right now, the fee is on the bills, and the board can adjust it from time to time as it sees fit. Under this ordinance, it will be memorialized in the water department ordinance. In addition to that, it would allow for a $15 a month fee for 4 residential units or more, or for commercial properties. That would be in the same fee. It's not going to be a separate fee. It would just be in addition to what the fee is now. That would be an additional charge added to it. And again, I think the board is familiar with the issues that we've had recently with regard to securing easements for lead line replacement, securing easements for water line replacements, going back and forth with MWRD for water impacted infrastructure also costs the village money for which it is not reimbursed. So that would be taken into consideration. And again, all of this is predicated upon the board setting that amount. I did get some feedback from board members with regard to what the current amount of the fee is, the water infrastructure fee, which most people believe applies to the water tower, but it applies to the water tower and everything else. And it also memorializes and updates the practical implementation of the deferred payment agreements. As you can see from the draft and the red line copy, currently there's criteria that allows for kind of ambiguous determinations as to what the amount should be set for. That was, I think, written into it. The 5 criteria was written into it originally to give a lot of latitude. But over time, the practice has been simply if you've not been on a water deferment plan, if you haven't defaulted on your bill before, everybody gets it. So rather than have this discretion, you get it, you don't get it, you get it, you don't get it, the criteria has been limited to 2 things. The size of the past due amount, which is the risk that the village has if it's an $800 bill, obviously that's got to be taken into consideration as to someone if they're $800 or $1,000 in arrear in their water bill, or if they're $60. So that is something that always will be coming in consideration. And the other one is the customer's payment history. If someone has done it a couple of times, have been on this plan, it seems like what they do is they default on their water bill, and then they get on a plan, and then they default again immediately, and they want to get on a plan again. So obviously that would be taken into consideration. That is what is being taken into consideration now. So that's what the new format would say. And it also clarifies a policy of the village, which is that when we have these defaults on residents who are tenants, the bill is in their name, both the landlord and the tenant, to be clear, both the landlord and the tenant are on the hook for the water bill. Just because you have an agreement in your lease saying that the tenant is responsible for the water bill, that doesn't mean that the village can't go after the landlord. It's the owner and the tenant, joint and several. So the new rule, which has been implemented, and there's been some, confusion over it, is that because the landlord ultimately is on the hook, and some landlords were not aware that the village had entered into this agreement, which allowed the tenant to run the bill up to $1,200, $800, and then they leave, and the landlord's stuck with it. The policy has been informally implemented that in order for a tenant to be allowed to go onto a deferment plan for the defaulted bill, the landlord has to okay it. And everything else is pretty much just changing to eliminate things like the requirement of lead pipes that we have in our current bill, in our current code. Obviously, we don't follow that because lead pipes are illegal. We've updated that. Changed some terms to make them more user-friendly regarding stop valves.
Or corporation of,
Yeah, right.
sorry,
That's okay.
just being a child.
And we've obviously, because of our experience, have put it in there very clear that if you're going to get water from the village, then you have to allow the Public Works Department onto your property. And any failure to allow for easements, any failure to allow for access to fix meters, to read meters, to fix water lines, to monitor water lines, if you don't do it, then you can be terminated. Your water service can be terminated. We already had this power, but this makes it very clear. And let's see what else we have. Going down to it. I know, Ty, if you see anything else that's in here that you think is remarkable. Oh, and the rules. We also have the rules for takers or people who get water. Simple things like you can't fill up your neighbor's pool, reselled water, those kinds of things. That's a thing, yeah. It must have been a thing at a time like in 1935 that, you'd fill up your neighbor's pool for you and then sell your water to him or something. Oh, the deposits have been set by recommendation. The deposit for new accounts will go to, I believe it's $100 now, because the original deposit amount was set in 1977. So the risk to the village, obviously, when someone takes off and leaves us with only $75 of deposit, is that we have to eat the rest. As everyone knows, it's very difficult to collect on a water bill because it doesn't attach to the property, and we have to chase people down. So I believe, as it is, it addresses the issues of the archaic terms. It addresses the issues of the additional costs that the village incurs for redoing water lines, whether they be to move them or whether it be to replace lead pipes, for easements, all of these costs, the legal costs, the engineering costs, all that stuff that we don't get right now. It also incorporates the water infrastructure fee, which is on the bill, and gives the board the ability to raise it, and not only raise it, but if there comes a time in which our water works becomes particularly profitable, not likely, but the city of Chicago constantly raising what we have to charge our customers, but should the time come, that fee would be lowerable, if you will, by the village board. And that's about,
So the 1035 is a water debt service. It doesn't have anything to do with the infrastructure. It has everything to do with the bond that was taken out in 2009. So you're gonna, and I think the 1035 is by ordinance.
It was.
no, it just wasn't in the water code. so
Well,
what we call it.
it's in
I
a
think
bond,
he's-
it's in a bond ordinance somewhere.
Oh, yeah, there's no
But it wasn't
question.
in this one.
It's not in
No,
this.
it wasn't this
Yeah,
ordinance,
yeah.
but now you're gonna combine the both of them?
No, we're just gonna provide for it to be in the ordinance ongoing.
Oh,
Yes.
so, but there's gonna be two separate charges? Two separate things?
That's up to the board.
Wait,
That's up
I'm
to-
confused then. What Don, I think, is referring to, I don't mean to put words in your mouth, Don's referring to the infrastructure that's already on our bill.
Correct.
And that came about from a bond that was taken out many, many years ago.
Correct.
This reference in, I believe it's paragraph 3-39C, that's
Yeah.
where the $10 is for the commercial establishments and apartments of 4 or more individual units shall have a flat monthly infrastructure fee of $10. Oh, it is an addition. It says it's $10 in addition to the regular infrastructure fee.
Correct.
Okay, so all commercial properties and all apartment buildings are gonna get an additional $10
4 units or more apartment
Right.
buildings,
4 units or more, and that's gonna be monthly or quarterly?
monthly.
Oh, billed monthly, okay. So, all right, was that your only question?
Well,
Because I have 2 questions, but you
go on,
finish
go
yours.
on. You-
No, you finish
Okay,
yours.
so I guess I would want this referred to the finance committee because there's other things that are happening with the water bill.
Yeah, and that, again, the intent of this was to allow, there's 2 separate things. The subject matter fee, which is easily mailed by putting it into the water bill. We get it to water. It has nothing to do with water.
Right.
However, we also have the water infrastructure fee, which we want to put in the water department, to have it there for you, so that you can, it's on the bill, now it can be referenced in the ordinance, and you can change it from time to time. In addition to that, we want to add, based upon what I'm getting back from a couple of trustees, that we want to add an additional fee for commercial water usage as well as for multiple unit apartment buildings, which have incurred additional costs to us to get them water.
Okay, so can we refer this to the finance committee?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Again,
Okay.
this is the shell. I designed
Okay.
this so that the finance committee can plug into it and do whatever they want.
And
Okay.
the amounts that are in here are placeholder.
They're placeholder amounts, yes.
Okay,
That's
fine.
what my best guess, what the board would do with that, the amount of money that they would set that fee, but obviously those are placeholders for you to decide.
Okay, so 2 other quick questions would be, there's a paragraph that was deleted on monitoring or metering construction water.
That was my other question.
Wow, there you
And that would be 3-3-26, construction water. It was deleted.
Oh, yes. Ty, go ahead. There's no such thing anymore. That's not a thing.
From what I've been told, there's no such thing anymore.
What do you mean?
are. There's no such thing as,
So,
As construction water used to be almost like free water to them. And we
Yes.
don't want them to have that anymore. A lot of their building their
they need to
houses.
pay for it.
Right.
And so how-
All right, so this,
so how's it metered then?
then, yeah, how's it metered? If we deleted the language, shouldn't the language just be revised to say that now you have to pay for it?
Well, the meter would go in before all the work would go.
But there's nothing in there that says that. Or is there? I don't even,
Okay,
I
I
didn't
lied.
look
I
at
put
it a lot.
3-3-26. It's not 3-3-26.
I didn't look, I just looked at the deleted paragraph. I didn't see if there was anything else in there about,
Okay.
paying
All right.
for.
Help me here, Nick. What paragraph was construction water in? Do you remember?
Oh,
It was 3-3-26, it was
It was?
replaced with valves and connections going
yeah,
out.
yeah. They changed the numbering of them. In the red at the beginning, any red,
Ah, there it
red
is.
line
There's 2, 3,
has,
3,
number has
26.
changed. So it was my understanding that the construction water was,
But the language here that was deleted, the second paragraph says, upon a permit being granted, the service pipe shall be carried at the expense of the applicant to the inside of the curb line where the service, something or other, and meter shall be placed with the pipe leading to the surface and a faucet placed at the end thereof. When the building or construction work is completed, the faucet and meter shall be removed, the water shut off unless permanent construction. I'm thinking maybe that language needs to stay in there, because that is old, it's from 1935. perhaps the language needs to stay in there, but there needs to be language added that says a meter will be added and they will have to pay for it.
I don't know that it's not just a matter of them paying for it. I think that's not the process anymore. We don't set up temporary water lines, do we?
No,
So then how do they get water for construction?
They have to come in, and when the builder comes in and gets all their permits,
Mhm.
price of the meter is included in that. So as soon as the plumber gets everything hooked up, we come in and put the water meter in, and he's up and running.
So it's
Yeah,
a
but
different
where-
process.
Yeah, but that language has to be somewhere in an ordinance. If
It
you're gonna
doesn't.
delete it here,
It doesn't. It's like for everyone else, trustee. It's for everyone else, that the department sets up their water line pursuant to that. It's,
no.
but how,
This doesn't make sense. If this language is not in here, then it needs to be in a building ordinance somewhere. To me, if we're gonna charge them, if we take this language out, if we have no language that says a new development, whether it's commercial or residential, has to pay for construction water, when the contractor goes to the building department to get their permit, it's just the building department.
trustee, there's no such thing as construction water.
They're not gonna have any water
There's
till they
gotta be
get the meter.
construction water. There's no concept of that. We don't say if a bar opens up, we have
Well,
to put
then,
in
that's fine. Then
bar
call-
water language.
Call it whatever you want. There has to be a provision, if there's no existing water line to a property right now, there has to be language in here somewhere that says, if a vacant property is going to be developed and requires water for the construction, then this is the process. And they'll be given a meter and they'll pay for it.
Yep. Ty, what would the process be?
Well, after the contractor comes in and gets all the permits,
Right.
which would include the meter,
Mm-hmm,
then once the building gets built and the plumber gets the water lines in,
mm-hmm,
everything gets passed as far as inspections,
mm-hmm.
and the meter goes in, and the account is up and running.
There is no construction, there's no water to the property until that happens.
Well, then, what happened, what was the intent of this paragraph then? Because this paragraph clearly says that, they're gonna go to the water department and they're gonna get a permit for a service pipe, and then they're gonna get a pipe and a faucet, so.
They used to get free water.
1935.
In 1935,
I
that's
know
what
that was
it's
nineteen
They used
thirty-five.
to get free water. We used to give them a water line with a spigot so they could get water for construction.
Okay,
We just don't do that anymore.
but so there's an account set up when they come in and you give them a meter, there's an account automatically set up that it's like a regular water account, is that what you're saying?
Right.
okay, so then the building department has to interface with your department to say, hey, these people are submitting their permits and they're gonna need
A meter.
a meter.
And an account.
We put meters in before the rest of the house gets plumbed.
Okay,
As long as the water service line from the water main goes inside the house and all that passes inspection,
mm-hmm,
we can put the meter in with a shut-off valve,
mm-hmm.
and then they can get to it whenever they want to.
Okay, so that's a residential property. On a commercial property, is there ever gonna be a time where someone's gonna need water before all their plumbing is done and before a building's up for you to put a meter in? Could it happen on a commercial property?
If it did, then that would require a discussion between the building department, the water department, and the developer, depending upon the size and the needs. And there was going to be no catch-all superfluous language in the water code that would provide for that, just like there isn't in the building code for other needs of contractors. It has to be worked out in a development plan.
Well, I just don't want the village to be caught into some weird situation where we've got somebody coming saying, well, your ordinance doesn't say we have to pay for construction water or water, we need water for this, believe me, the building department gets hit all the time from people who will tell me where it's at in the code. So here we are, digging through the code, giving them the evidence, so that's all. I just want to make sure the village is protected, that's all. And
What person in their right mind would think water's free?
Jack, a lot of people in this village think that they don't have to pay for a whole lot of stuff.
I've seen them go to fire hydrants and open it up and fill
Yeah,
a truck.
Sure.
Which is against the village code.
Yeah, yeah.
The construction water allowed for a process that was no longer being used, that is absolutely obsolete. Even the standards for construction water back then were different than they are now. the best way to do it is to eliminate a provision that the village doesn't use anymore, go back to the zoning and building codes and the expertise of the Public Works Department to address any construction water needs.
And you're confident that we don't have to have it in a code somewhere? I realize this is from 1935.
No.
Okay.
Yes, I'm confident that we don't have to have it in the code, because all that would do would create a missized provision that would catch all, that would put obligations on the village that we don't want to do. We're the water authority utility. We don't need to discuss construction
There's
water.
no such thing as construction water, so we don't really need a rule about construction water.
So I'm just saying, if somebody buys a property and they're gonna redevelop it, and they need water before a building goes up, they're gonna have to come to the village, to the building department and Public Works and say, we need water right now before our building goes in,
Yes,
so.
and they wouldn't be able to get it, because that's not the way it operates. There's no such thing as construction water.
No, you
But
just,
what if they need the water to commence
Then
doing whatever they
they-
need to do?
They
That's my
would
question.
talk to
Yeah.
Public Works would determine if
They
they
would
can
have to
do what
still
they
put in a
want,
permit. A
then they'd
meter.
have to get a meter.
A meter, that's what I mean.
So
Okay.
there's no
Hooked up
problem.
fire hydrant meters,
Mhm.
fire hydrants,
Okay.
a lot of long garden hoses,
Yeah,
and we've done that before.
okay.
Unless they open a fire hydrant, which is not legal,
Mhm.
they're not getting water unless it goes through the Public Works.
or buy the water from the neighbor to the garden hose.
If they save it in the pool.
Yeah, if they save it, both.
Okay, I just wanna make sure we're covered, that's all.
That's okay.
Okay, and,
And the
Okay.
last question in, with regards to 3-39 A and C, those provisions have to do with, the village charging,
I'm getting there, 3-3-9, C.
A and C. It has to do with the infrastructure fees. And it just says that it'll be set, those fees will be set from, in A, the new language says the fee will be set from time to time by the president and the board. And then the same for C. Well, right now, you just said the $10 was a placeholder. And that will be set by the board and the mayor from time to time. So I don't know in here, because I reviewed all the red line provisions, not every single sentence. Is there a provision that says it has to be done by resolution, and then will these have to be listed on the fee schedule, just like all the other village fees?
No, I would say that this is not that kind of fee. It's attendant to the water, it has its own provision. I mean, you could if you want, I mean, there's no harm in doing that, it's not necessary.
Complicates the process.
Because then you have two places to change it, to line it up, and that's where mistakes happen, but,
Well, I thought that all of our fees have to be, if we're gonna change the fee, it has to be done by resolution. So I guess.
well,
I'll defer to-
yes, you are correct, that in order to change it from time to time?
Yeah.
Yes, by resolution, yeah.
Okay,
okay,
well then, should it be listed, all the fees on the fees list are changed by resolution, so if we're gonna list this here, should it be included?
We
in
could
the
do
fee
that, we
schedule?
can do, it is the
Okay.
existing municipal law that in order to change a fee and to exercise your authority, you would do it by resolution.
Okay.
We could add it in there, it's just as valid either way,
All right.
there's no issue.
That's all that's my only question.
okay.
You've used up all your allowable time for next week's meetings.
One last question for Ty, is that the turn on of water happens within 24 hours, as long as people come in before 3 o'clock. But you're doing it on a Friday too?
We stopped doing it.
Yeah.
Because it says here you're doing it on Friday, Monday through Friday.
Do you know what paragraph that is?
I don't know.
We changed that.
I didn't write it down, I'm sorry.
Hmm?
But I thought the intention
Okay.
was just to do it Monday through Thursday,
Right.
because Friday's trouble.
Correct.
We could change that?
Yeah, we
You wanna-
can change it.
Okay, that's all.
That's what we're doing though.
Yeah.
Practicality, correct? Ty?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Is that it?
That's it?
Thank you. That was a wonderful conversation. I have nothing.
It's a great ordinance, it's a great ordinance.
What, it's, what'd you say, you crafted it?
Crafted it, yeah.
I have nothing tonight, Brooks.
I have nothing tonight, sir.
Seeing there's no further bids coming for the board, I'm looking for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion.
I'll sign it.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Meeting adjourned. Thank you all.